I'm Emily Deschanel.
And I'm Carla Gallo.
And this is Boneheads!
On video!
On video, once again.
We
A special
decided to
treat.
yes, I was
a
gonna
special treat.
say.
We're trying it out.
We're doing something special
Yes.
because we have succeeded in conquering 1/12 of the seasons of Bones.
Yes.
Yeah.
In other words, though, we finished a season, which is
big
pretty.
deal.
I'm impressed with us.
I am too.
I think it's pretty cool. I think we we worked hard.
We did.
We did it.
We did.
We accomplished something.
We're not quitters.
Not yet.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. No, and I was looking back through the episodes and I was like, oh my God, like we covered a lot of ground. Like I kind of forgot because it's a train that was like running and I'm like, oh my God, like, the man and the bear, like there's a lot of
looking back,
which is what we're going to do today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We're going to look back. I mean, so many things have happened between Booth and Brennan, just Brennan on her own, Booth on his own, Angela and Hodgins, all of it.
Yeah.
A lot has happened to and with the different characters.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of crimes were solved.
I mean,
a lot of murders.
A lot
of dead bodies were seen. And then we were analyzing and commenting on all of it.
I know.
Yeah.
Which I want to talk about too.
I know.
I want to do
it's very meta. We'll talk about
it's very meta. I was going to say
podcast about the podcast.
A re-listen to the rewatch. Not really. Like a rewatch to the rewatch. But yeah, talk about the process of doing it a little bit as well, which is new for both of us. So we just thought it would be fun to do a video.
Yeah, we want to try it out. It's a little more complicated, but we want to try it. People seem to respond to it, so we're doing a little video, and we'll try to do video when we can. We can't do it all the time, but we're going to try. So this felt like a special episode.
Yeah.
So we're doing a little video. There will probably be some other video to come at other times, but we just wanted to reflect on this crazy first season. Not only just the show Bones, but the podcast, like we talked, and we talk about something that happened 20 freaking years ago.
I know.
Carla, 20.
Well, that's
20.
been the crazy part. I think it's one thing to like watch it, look at the way everyone looks, but also like, but then
Are you talking about the clothes or are you talking about how young we
all
are?
of it. And I say that with love because anytime, I know we haven't gotten into Daisy's stuff, but anytime I see some Daisy footage, I am horrified that I have aged.
Oh, I know.
It's just proof. It's
that's
very in your
my kids
face.
didn't recognize me, for God's sake.
They thought you were Michaela.
Michaela. But I mean, hey, I will take that.
I would take that any day.
The fact that, they were just very confused. I think they were like, what is this? And I don't recognize you. But somebody's got to be you in here. And who is it? And I'm just going to randomly pick this other person. But hey, they could have picked almost anyone in the world that be not as attractive as her. Pretty much everyone is not as attractive as her.
No, especially my oldest daughter, Ellie, really likes to be like, you looked really young in that. Like in anything from back in the day. She's like, you looked really young. You looked really different.
Yeah, you look so different. This is not related to the show, but I just want to share. Yeah, my son, when we were skiing, you're in the elements, whatever. I came to find him and I took my goggles up and I went to see him and he looked at me and he was like, you look like you died and got brought back to life. And I was like,
what?
Thank you.
How dare you?
You got to trust that they're on. I mean, I appreciate his honest
feedback.
Honest feedback.
That's honest feedback. Okay. I don't feel Ellie's feedback is starting to feel not. I mean, it might be honest, but it's a little bit of like a
purposely unkind.
A little bit of a jab at the mom. Jab at the mom.
You look so young. You look so young and different than what you look like now.
And you know what I say? You.
Yeah, I know.
That's what happened.
Kids age you like crazy. Are you kidding me?
Sucking all the life out of me.
Yeah. You did this. You did this, child. To me. You did this.
It's getting dark. We're getting dark. It's getting dark.
Let's talk about the season.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about fun things like favorite episode? Oh, go ahead.
Just was going to say that my dark slide there, what that was about was one of the things for me that has been really the wildest thing about doing the podcast has been seeing people that I have not seen, for the most part, people I haven't seen for like 8 years or so.
Wow.
Some that I'd never met.
Right.
Like Jonathan Adams.
I hadn't seen him in 20 years or so. 19 years, whatever it was. Yeah.
But that's been so, like, as much as I knew when we were starting this, we were creating lists of who we'd have. It was very, hypothetical. And you're like, oh, that'd be so cool to have that person on and like to talk to that person. But then when they come in the door, a Patricia Belcher, people that you're like, oh my God, I've spent so much time with you. I've worked with you through the years, but I haven't seen you in 8 years. But you walk in the door and I feel like I just saw you yesterday. That's been like wild. I just didn't think about it. I didn't predict it. And then as the people kind of come in the door, I'm like, oh my God. I don't know. It's been very cool. It
feels good. It feels good to look back and it feels good to reunite with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Because there's some people that
feeds the soul.
It does feed the soul.
For us.
It's true. Yeah. It's been rewarding, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think there's some people that obviously, we're gonna, we have kept up relationships with, a lot of the cast. But then even Hart, who's someone who I like hold very dear.
Yeah.
I don't have the occasion to see him really. I know you probably do, but I like
not all the time, but like, once a year, maybe something like that.
I hadn't seen him.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from when we did the first episode with him, I hadn't seen him in 8 years. And I'm on social media with him. Like, so I see what's going on in his life and his grandchildren and his book.
Those are the things that I wish,
yeah,
missing out on people's families.
You just be a lurker.
I don't understand. I'm such an old lady. I just never got into social media. I'm like just a more private person naturally. So I should do it probably, but it just like seems daunting to me. And I feel like already like I spend too much time on my phone without being social media. And then when I do click on those things, I just feel like it doesn't make me feel good.
No.
Not like in a like, oh, I look at those things, but just staring at a screen more than I need to does not feel good to my ADHD brain that also gets addicted to those things. So I just want to scroll. So it's like it's not healthy.
No, I would agree with you.
Do we still have our favorite episode? And is it still the same one?
That's a very tough, it feels a little bit to me like, which of these 12 children are your favorite?
22.
Well, oh God, 22. I was like 12. Okay. Which of these 22 children are your favorite?
246.
Yeah. Well, I haven't gotten there yet.
We're just doing 22 right now.
Yes. I was looking through the different synopses and I was like, oh my God, that one. Oh, I love The Man and the Bear. And obviously I still love the Christmas episode. Yeah. But then there's later ones that I love too, because you start to get into the characters more. So the, Angela going off with her boyfriend in the desert. I love. Yeah. I love the finale.
Skull in the Desert. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Woman in Limbo.
The Woman in Limbo. I love that one too.
Yeah.
That's very tough. I don't know. I'm not going to answer yet. I'm going to ask you, do you have still the same favorite?
I still feel like the Christmas episode, The Man in the Fallout Shelter, is probably still the top. But yeah, there's a lot that I liked. I also like the Two Bodies in the Lab one. That's like more action packed. It's not as like sentimental or something, but it's like so many things happen and I like action. I like an action film and action thing. So that I enjoy. And I like the finale too. And I like I don't know. I like a lot of different episodes for different reasons too. It's like the Sophie's Choice that you mentioned. Oh my God.
Do you have a least favorite?
Oh, it's so funny because I would go into thinking it would be the pirate episode, but actually I think it's the one, the graft and the girl.
Oh yeah. I know.
I mean, it's nice and it's sentimental, but I think I don't know. Having watched a lot of these all back to back, it's not a bad episode. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I might look at because it was the one after when I looked through, I kind of looked through it with that in mind. And it was the one after Graft and the Girl that I think for me was challenging. Oh, Soldier on the Grave. I mean, I didn't I didn't dislike it, but I think I think when stuff has to do with the military,
it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was a really good episode. Also action packed. But
you're seeing all the flashbacks and all of that. Yeah.
But I think military stuff for me is it's just not my area of interest, I guess. So, and then it makes me uncomfortable, think a little bit. So I feel like maybe that one wasn't.
I don't connect as much to the military things in that, Dave Boreanaz's new show. I watched a little bit of it, but it's just not he's fantastic on that show, the SEAL team. Mm-hmm. But it's not my interest. And I felt the same way about this episode. I think he's great in the episode. And I think we find out about Booth and his history more. We also find more about Booth's history in episode 16 or 17 in the Two Bodies in the Lab. We find out he was tortured in that one. So that's interesting for me. But yeah, I agree that the military thing in general, I'm not.
Yeah. I know. I thought it would be interesting we had talked about doing how it started and how are we doing now?
How it ended, how it started, how this season started, how it ended.
Yeah, I mean,
yes, because we should certainly talk about Booth and Brennan.
But also Angela and Hodgins, because one of the things I thought about a lot was that I feel like almost more Angela, but both Angela and Hodgins are horn dogs. They're both
they both are
Angela's
kind of
very I'm a free spirit,
free
honey,
and she's dating different guys.
Look at my, she opens her shirt in the last shot.
Yeah,
but and then Hodgins, there's a lot of with Zach Addy where he's well, or when they find the episode where the FedEx, the delivery person, and everyone's hot for everyone's hot.
That's in the Man and the Bear.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about that is a funny trajectory for those characters that by the end, those two specifically would end up, they're not together by the end of season 1, but they're hot for each other. There's their emotion. There's
little twinkles in the eye.
More than I think.
I would say there's twinkles in the eye for them. I think there's more than with Booth and Brennan, where they're and not necessarily with romance or sexual tension as much, although I think that's there. But I think it's almost more in terms of their the connection of them to each other as human beings. Brennan by the end has asked Booth to help her with the missing persons case of her parents, and then they find her mother's body, and he really helps her through that.
Yeah,
they kind of trauma bond or something with their.
That's true.
I mean, we don't really know about Booth's parents at this point, where they are and what happened to them, but you have these characters helping each other through hard times. Brennan helps Booth through him talking about a hard time he had when he's in the military and the Soldier on the Grave episode, and then you see Booth helping Brennan in the last episode, Woman in Limbo. He comes in late at night, brings her Chinese food, and helps her through this hard time where she's grieving the loss of her mother, and also grieving the fact that her mother possibly left her and then died. So she was abandoned. And there's a lot, so they're really bonding as people, and so I love that. It's really
that's a great arc too.
Yes.
From that first
where she doesn't even want to work with him.
Yeah.
She's sorry, I'm not. Go work with someone in Montreal or whatever. And then now they're really becoming close friends.
Yeah, and protective of each other. Really protective of each other.
He breaks the law for her. He finds her earring at the crime scene and picks it up and gives it to her instead of collecting it for evidence, which would have placed her at the scene of the crime. She's already under suspicion. And, you see he's breaking the law, which is huge. Breaking the law. I don't know that many FBI agents, but I hope they're not breaking the law on a regular basis.
I mean, I don't know
unless
any.
it's like that.
For someone they love.
I don't know any either. I've met a couple.
I bet you have.
Ooh, one time.
Yeah.
I was at a Golden Globes party.
Okay.
An in-style Golden Globes party, and somebody came up and said, "Oh, hi, we're FBI." We watched a show, we're FBI. And they were there. There was some threat.
What?
So they were I don't know if it was a threat of a particular person or of the Golden Globes themselves, because that party is in the same building that the Golden Globes happen in.
Dressed? Were they undercover?
They were wearing like suits, like
to blend
execs
in.
wear. Yeah. Like, you know, they were wearing like a nice-ish suit. They weren't wearing a ball gown. There was a woman who first came up to, I think it was a man she was working with, but they were fans of Bones.
What I love is that they were like fanning out while they're at a Golden Globes party, like on assignment. But they were like, hello.
They probably it might not be kosher for them to say something to us, but it was a long time ago and we don't know who they were. So
they couldn't help themselves.
They still, I think, did their job. We didn't hear of any terrible incident.
There you go.
Point is
breaking the law.
Breaking the law. They don't often break the law. You know what, Carla?
What?
All moms want on Mother's Day is a call from you. A call from their kid.
From me?
And all moms want a call from Carla Gallo.
Okay.
You know what else they want? An Aura digital picture frame.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
A picture that I would keep in my Aura frame is my girls in the bathtub. Covered in suds.
Cute.
Yeah. In the pandemic, I would bathe them a lot because I had nothing else to do. I'd be like, time for a bath.
There's a lot of cleaning going on.
Yeah, we were clean.
People and homes and everything.
But I have some wonderful pictures of them laughing because they were hitting each other in the face with a handful of bubbles.
Aura Frames was named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter and featured in 495 gift guides last year. So the next time you need to call your mom, you can also send her a new pic of you from that trip you're telling her all about, right from your phone. From the phone to the Aura frame. I love it. It's easy.
And it plays videos too, which is crazy. You can upload videos.
I didn't know that until this moment, Carla, and I've given this frame so many times.
And you didn't know?
I didn't know.
Well, you can upload videos up to 30 seconds long, and your favorite live iPhone photos will play right on the frame. The embedded speaker can even play audio on demand.
Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver matte frame. That's AURA frames.com. Promo code Boneheads. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. I'm wondering about, like, we went to Los Angeles in the 11th episode.
There were a lot of travels.
The 10th episode or whatever that was.
There were a lot of travels.
There was more travels than there are in most episodes. Well, and funnily enough, we filmed them all in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Well, you know what I was going to say is it reminds me of, I thought it was kind of interesting when we had Hart on for the finale and he was like, really the intention of the show was not so much to have you in the lab, but to actually have you out a lot with
at first they thought they'd have me in the lab more.
Oh, it was the opposite? Did I get it wrong?
Well, there's two different things I think he was saying.
He thought you were be with different people.
He thought it would be with different people that like this week we were with, like that at first, before we did film the pilot though, we would have Dave Boreanaz playing Booth and we would go and solve a crime with him, and then the next episode we'd go and solve a crime with the local sheriff or the DCPD or whatever.
I think he didn't mean for her to be like, he would be out, she would definitely be in the lab, and also there was something about that she was supposed to be with different people, but then it was the two of them together and then seeing you out in the world.
They liked that.
Yes.
They wanted to do that more.
So it is interesting how much they started to employ that. And it definitely ramps up like over the season where it's, you know, by the end, you guys are really out. I mean, you're out a lot, like you said, going to like the Man and the Bear. You guys
were in Washington State, I think, for that one.
I don't remember where it was.
I think it's Washington
You're definitely on
State,
location.
But we're far away.
Yeah, but I like it. Like
I know, I
when
like
you guys,
it too.
I mean, I love the lab.
About the different. I know I love the lab too, but not only, I mean, there's being out in the field and then there's being out not in the DC area.
Right. Which you do quite a lot.
Especially this season.
But you do that a lot.
The woman at the airport is in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So we have Washington State, the Man and the Bear. We have episode 10 is LA, and which is fun to shoot LA. And I mean, we filmed all of these in LA, to be clear.
I mean, it's kind of funny as you're talking about it. I'm like, oh, there are a decent amount that are like local for them, like local to DC. But I mean, it definitely speaks to like how much I didn't feel, I don't want to say stuck in the lab, but I didn't. This season does not feel like we had a lot of lab presence, but I never felt like like they kept the show visually interesting enough to be other places and to not have, because you have these like, when you have procedurals that are solving a crime, if some shows like medical type shows, a lot of times, like if I think back on like ER or even The Pit, I just started watching that. I'm like, you don't leave. Like you don't, it's very unusual to leave.
Yeah.
And so it kind of is nice. I know that like more crime, because you're medical and crime really. But like crime shows, I get it. Law and Order, you're like out in the field. But I do think it's interesting that like for a show that does have a home base of a laboratory, I don't feel at all like the show got stuck in the lab or that, you know, it feels very visually creative, I think.
Well, we were out more than, I mean, few seasons in, we, I think there's like a budget consideration that made us stay in the lab more. But we are out more here in the season than we are. I mean, probably in other, you know, the next couple seasons we're probably out a good amount as well. But also I want to say that the lab set is it's not claustrophobic feeling. It has insanely tall ceilings and light coming in from those ceilings that were actually, you know, modeled off of an actual location in Los Angeles, the California Science Center, one of the buildings there, and which has an open roof. Like it had no roof, which we talked about in the pilot episode filming. We actually filmed there. But so it's the opposite of claustrophobic.
Well, there's a lot of like
and
creative,
it's visually cool. It's
so
visually
cool.
interesting. And so it's so even if you are stuck in the lab, like in the Man in the Fallout Shelter episode where it's just the lab essentially, you don't feel like you're stuck somewhere or claustrophobic or anything like that.
Yes, I agree. Sorry, I know I was looking down. I was gonna say I was gonna work in like a fan question because that's something else that we want to do.
Yes,
as like
we love the
little
fan questions.
ending of season 1. I mean, I'll just like along the same lines of talking about like kind of our favorites and things like that. I'm gonna start with the first question on here, which is at Jessica Amy. What are your favorite scenes and most challenging scenes to film? With love from Australia.
I love it. Hi, Australia. Favorite scenes to film. I love a heart-to-heart with Angela and Brennan. And I loved overall in the seasons. This is something we hadn't really started doing exactly yet. We did it a few times in the episodes in this season, but it's something that will become kind of a bone staple, which is at the end of the episode, Booth and Brennan are together and they're chatting and they kind of have this like repartee. Mm-hmm. And I like doing those scenes. They connected the two characters together at the end of each episode and it really solidified that relationship. So I'd say those are some of my favorite. I love doing something adventurous too. It's scary and difficult sometimes. Challenging scenes, sometimes the physical challenge of a scene, having to do different challenging thing. I mean, there's an episode coming up where we have to be weightless. And that was a challenge, but I liked it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was fun and interesting and challenging.
Do you read the script and you're like, you see something like that and you're like, oh, that's so cool.
I love it.
Do you see scenes where you, like, I know what the answer is for me. We've talked about this a little bit, but for you, are there scenes where you get a script and you're like, like, oh no.
I don't remember feeling that way, but I'm sure I did at certain point. I don't know if I ever felt like that, but sometimes I'm like, not that exciting or something like, okay. But then you have to find where it's interesting and exciting, because, you're doing the same thing over and over again for 12 years, 240 whatever episodes. So you have to kind of find ways to make it interesting. So there are definitely scripts where I'm like, okay, it's not
my favorite
exciting,
or not
like I don't get to do an exciting thing. Sometimes there's challenging things where like, okay, there's a big emotional thing or
that's the one for me.
Yeah.
That's the one where I see it and I'm like happy for it because anytime someone like a writer is going to give that to me, I'm like, I actually feel really flattered. You know, I'm like, oh wow, to like do that. And I know it like it's really hard work, but it shows your capability, you know, so I'm always like kind of like, oh, that's so cool. And it's depth for the character.
Yeah.
So I'm always really excited about it, but I'm also like very scared. Like I'm always a little scared.
Yeah. Especially I don't like it when they write in all the crying and that I hate. I know
it's a lot of pressure
because you can cry like in different places and that works. But it's like I don't like it when I'm leaning and you can cross it all out, but
it's hard.
You know it's written
mentally.
And everyone's like had that, and then you never want to be like feeling that pressure of you're supposed to cry at this.
And sometimes it's
moment.
So specific. It's like she's looking down, she looks up at him, her tear, like
falls.
You know, you're like. And I agree with you. It's like, you know, I've had so many people be like, just take it out, you know, like, and I think of it more for auditions because there's obviously a pressure to deliver when you're filming a show, but when you're auditioning, you're trying to get it right. And people be like, take it out. Like, don't worry about any of that. And I'm like, it's what they want. It's what they want to see. That's where they feel the emotion. But I agree with you. Sometimes something hits for you in a really different place.
Yeah.
But for me, those are always very scary. I just, but yeah, I was curious what yours.
I know I did once have an audition. It was like one tear falls from and you're like, oh my God.
That's so hard.
And an audition, it's such pressure.
Yeah.
It's pressure when you're filming too, man.
Oh my God.
It's pressure. And it's like the opposite of like an environment where you can feel, you know, free to feel things or not feel things or feel one thing or another. Not, you know.
Totally. Yeah. I think only because I just mentioned like medical shows like The Pit and ER. My only episode of ER, which was my first. I did an episode of Law and Order in New York.
I did Law and Order SVU.
Okay. And then when I came to LA, the first job I booked was an episode of ER that I have. It has like, actually I found the VHS at home in Brooklyn. I was like, oh my God, my ER episode.
What did you play?
I swear I was playing like a 16-year-old. I think I was like 25.
Aww.
And I bring my boyfriend in. And then while we're there, I think we realize that he has AIDS and that he's given me AIDS.
Oh,
and then he dies.
No, he does
very
not.
quickly. Within
so
the episode,
fast.
we come back in and he's died. We left. And then when we come back in, and again, I'm getting this maybe a little bit wrong, like in terms of like, do I find out that I have AIDS? I can't remember.
Right.
Like in that scene, I don't remember. He definitely
God.
does. But we come back in, like it's like we leave the hospital and then the next time we come back in, he dies. And then I had this scene with Noah Wiley where I'm like crying over his body.
Oh my God.
But I'm also blaming him. There's something in
blaming the boyfriend or blaming
Noah Wiley because I'm like, because I think maybe
he deserves it.
There's well, things are turning out okay for him.
I'm sure he
has another hit
wrong.
show. But so I'm mad at him because it's almost like maybe there's something in the way he told him that then my boyfriend went and did something and then he died. There's something, it's related.
So, see, he is to blame. Wow. Blame him.
You're really coming down hard on Noah Wiley, which is the purpose of this podcast episode.
Hate Noah Wiley.
Yeah, you gotta take him down a notch.
To be clear,
you gotta take him down a notch. But it was great. Like I just remember, you know, like I hadn't done a lot of TV or film, and it's ER. It's this like massive show. It's my first job out here, and I just remember being like. It was so stressful. And also you're like, there's a lot of people in the hallways, you know, there's like a lot of background actors. There's famous, you know, like I know who everybody is, but I remember them being so good to me. They were so good to me. They were like, hey, like when people were too loud, because I remember kind of like crouching down, trying to like get in the zone. And yeah, they were just like, hey, she's working, like everybody quiet, like very.
See, I don't like that. It's a nice thing
I know,
because
then there's a pressure.
But then I feel like, then they're all like, oh, what's going on? Oh, she's getting.
It was just, I was having trouble. Yeah. And I actually felt very like, I am just this like, you know, I'm here for like 2 days, like whatever it is. And I just felt really like respected, like really like just that they gave me they were like, hey, let her like, stop, like everyone's being really loud. And it was just a very positive experience, but it was like a crazy amount of pressure. Yeah. But you know what? Turned out great. It turned out really well.
I bet it did.
It did. Turned out well. Not to brag. Turned out well.
I want to see it.
Oh my God, you'll die. I look like I'm 12.
We should do a self-indulgent. My friend Derek and I had self-indulgent day. Like back in the day, we did pilots or something, and we like showed each other the pilots that we did.
I would kill to see. I don't know if I have like two. I have two pilots that didn't go that I probably have on. I would kill to see pilots of yours.
Yeah, I did at least two that I didn't go. One of which is like a multicam sitcom.
What?
No one wants to cast me in those, but yeah.
I would kill to see that. Let's do a rewatch episode of that. Oh my God.
Dan Finnerty, the Untitled Dan Finnerty Project. Do you know Dan Finnerty? Do you know the Dan Band?
No.
He's in like Old School or whatever that movie is.
Okay. Yeah. Were you like the wife?
No, I worked in a bar. Like this is how you get my way into like a comedy, like a sitcom type of comedy thing.
Yeah.
She was like a tough a young woman who worked at a bar. Like she would threaten people and stuff like that. It was like that kind of a character.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I can stick my
hard-edged.
teeth in. I know hard-edged.
Yeah.
I know what's funny about this, or I think I do. But it was weird. Have you done many of the ones with the audiences?
I've only done it really once. I've sort of done it twice, but one was like kind of pre-tape, but I've done it in front. I was so scared, but ultimately I loved it.
What was crazy is like they don't laugh immediately. Like you say a line and then you think they're not laughing. You're like, okay, I'll keep going, and then they start laughing. It was like a delay.
Sometimes they don't laugh. I mean,
Sometimes they don't laugh, but but when they do laugh, it's not necessarily right away. And my anxiety of like they're not laughing. We can go right to the next line, and then I would talk over the laugh. Finding that timing is.
I can't believe you did that. That is such a specific.
I can't say I did it well, but it did not get picked up.
That's too bad.
Yeah. I have another fan question.
Okay.
From @JustOneGab. What's one thing you learned rewatching and your biggest takeaway from season 1?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I think that seeing the inception of the relationship between Hodgins and Angela, because like, again, I came in later and I was just very established. So I think that was kind of interesting to like watch like how that started, why it started and how it started. And then even in doing the podcast, like asking how it started, asking Hart about it, TJ talking about it, kind of learning that was a little bit purposeful, on their part.
Not just a little bit.
Yeah. I also stand by their relation, like they, like as actors, I know they were, getting to know each other and becoming really good friends and adoring each other during that time.
Yeah.
So I knew that, but that was really cool to learn about. And gosh, takeaway. You know what my takeaway is from season 1? I'm a fan of the show.
Oh.
I'm a fan of the show. Who knew?
It's good. That's when I'm thinking of like the takeaway of like, hey, not a bad show.
Yeah.
Not
That's
a bad
how
show.
I feel, actually.
I mean, like, it's good to look at it again and see. Like, I didn't watch all these episodes back in the day, but I'd seen a good amount of them. But, but I was mostly just working on it and doing it and working so hard. So it feels good that, like, all that hard work was like, oh, we did good stuff.
That's a good show.
It's a good show.
It turns out.
Who knew?
All the people watching it.
All the people
watching it. But yeah, I was like, I think I felt like, and it wasn't even like I was too close to it, but I think I was like, this isn't my kind of show. Like I don't watch a lot of, I mean, probably now I watch more maybe procedural type things, but to be honest, like I really didn't watch Law and Order. I did watch ER.
I loved Law and Order.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Especially SVU, but I watched all of them.
I just wasn't
still on.
I like comedy. Like I think that I wasn't that kind of like solve the thing every week is not my, I'm kind of like, even with listening to podcasts, like I tend to like for my murder podcasts, I like ones that are are, each week we learn more about the same murder.
Yeah.
So I think this for me wasn't, and then working on the show, thrilled to get the job, loved working on it and everyone involved, but it still didn't cause me to like watch, I wasn't like, let me start to dive into the show. And so doing the podcast, that's been a big deal for me to like, it's forced me to watch the show. Yeah. And now I like really, really enjoy watching the show. And I'm very invested in the characters, and I want, Booth and Brennan to like, like I said in the Heart, interview that we just did for the season finale, I was like, kept saying to him, I realized I was like, you got me on that. Like, you got me, I said it already in the episode, but Booth looking down and seeing that you've dedicated your book to him. I was like I just felt very invested. So that's been kind of cool about doing the podcast, like to get into a show that you worked on, but that you weren't necessarily like I don't want to like a fan of. Like, I just didn't watch it.
Right. Well, it's also different back in the for two reasons. When you got hired, it was not the day of streaming where you go and watch episodes of the show to say like, okay, what is the show? What's the tone? What are the characters? What's the story like? But also it's mostly the episodes of Bones are kind of one-offs. It's not like you have to watch, if you were hired to be on Succession or something like that, you probably have to watch every episode of Succession to know what's happening, what happened in the previous episodes, to know what's going on, to really fully understand and then be a part of the show. But and you can do that nowadays, but back in the day you couldn't, but you didn't need to. You didn't need to go and watch all the episodes to know what's going on.
But you also didn't have as much access unless you're going to buy the DVD set. So like I wasn't going to like go buy the DVD set.
We're aging ourselves. I know. You're not going to do that. You didn't, but it's true.
Like, where was I going to sit down and start from episode 1? Like, unless I went and got the DVD set, which I didn't do.
Did not do.
I didn't do it.
Totally understandable.
I thought you were going to say unprofessional.
Unacceptable.
But you know what? Streaming has brought one more fan to Bones.
Yeah.
Me.
Carla Gallo.
That's right.
Fan and star of the show.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about
star.
that. A star of many. One of many. Oh yeah. Anything for you? Like, did you answer that question? What did you learn?
I don't know. Did I? I was just saying. Oh, hey, you did. It's good. I mean, but also, I think that I was just thinking when you're talking about how the show is unique in its tone. There's the lightheartedness of it, the humor in it, I think was unique at the time and probably still is for a crime show. And that's all Hart. That's his, his stamp on things, his I don't know,
brand.
Yeah. Thank you. His brand of show. And it was unique and special. And it was, I think well written and so different and unique. So I look back and having just watched the finale, and I sent Hart a voice memo saying like, hey, just good. Like I didn't, it's like I didn't talk to him about how good that writing was in that season finale when we were doing the podcast. Like
that's so nice.
I get like nervous about doing the podcast, and then so I sent him a voice memo saying
that's so nice.
It's such good writing and
very good.
It's almost so nice as an actor to have really good writing that to work with, because
that's a gift.
It's a lot of times rare, and it is such a gift, and it's like so helpful.
This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so let's encourage everyone to take care of their well-being and break the stigma, because the world is better when people are healthy and happy.
That's very true. Therapy is a great place to learn skills like setting boundaries and regulating your emotions. Through therapy, I have learned to do both of those things. I've learned to set boundaries in my life with loved ones and strangers alike. And I've also learned to balance my emotions a bit. It really empowers you to be the best version of yourself.
BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient. Serving over 5 million people worldwide, you can easily switch therapists anytime at no extra cost.
We're all better with help. Visit betterhelp.com/boneheads to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/boneheads.
I am going to ask another question that I'm curious about. Okay, it's from at thearc.ive. Did Emily and David want their characters to get together in season 1, or did you prefer another season? Did you guys ever talk about that?
We did not want to get together in season 1. There's lots of conversations about it. I think always we talked about the characters would be intended to be together.
Okay.
But like whether we had the chance to put them together or not is another question. Ideally, you string things along as much as possible. There's like people talk about moonlighting. I think they got together at a certain point and too soon and people lost interest in the show.
I love that show.
It's a good show. I need to watch that again. I didn't watch all of the episodes, but I definitely watched a handful and I always liked it. It was really good. And so I think we all just strategically did not want to put the characters together because we did not want to have people lose interest. So there was all these kind of clever things that they did. We talked about one in Patricia Belcher's podcast episode with us, talking about how she kind of dared us to kiss at some point.
Right.
You know, there's different ways of kind of putting us together,
but don't
close,
right.
but then don't actually put us together.
Yeah.
Another one is in this the 100th episode. So I think they were really clever. So we didn't want to get together too soon. I think I'm safe speaking for David as well on this because we all had conversations about it. It's not as engaging when you do that. You have to be kind of clever about how you put us together. And then when we did get together was when I got pregnant. And so they just wanted it to be his child. So they put us together and then we kind of skipped ahead to basically be in a full relationship. So you don't see courting.
That's crazy.
Because it's like, you think about it, courting, unless it's like Sex and the City, maybe that's a show that does like courting.
Right.
In a certain way, in a modern way.
So your pregnancy, your real life pregnancy dictated the timing on Booth and Brennan being together.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I wonder what would have happened otherwise.
I have another question.
Yeah.
From at Caitlin0511. Which character from any season do you wish was in every season? I love how they didn't say every episode. So that's interesting. Every season, I vote Sweets. I vote Sweets.
I have to agree.
Yeah. I'll vote Daisy.
Daisy. Oh, I mean, sure. Yeah, I guess I removed myself from.
But if we're not talking about ourselves,
then I would
Sweets
say
would be wonderful.
Sweets. I would love to have seen him in these first couple of seasons or the first season, just because I adore him so much. And then obviously after he was killed off, I hated that he was gone.
I know.
I hated it.
It's terrible.
And I understood that, like, I think for Daisy there wasn't as much to do, because so much of it was the connection with him. So that was kind of hard just from like an actor standpoint. I for sure felt like I wasn't, it started to become a thing where I was like, I don't really know what she always had her work world, but it was like that piece was so much of who she was. That for him to be gone, I mean, I'm very grateful that they kept me, because they certainly could have just been like, all right, well, we don't really need her anymore. But
you're off.
But yeah, also just as a viewer, I think I would have liked him to have been there the whole time. What about you?
Yeah, I love the idea of Sweets. It's hard for me to choose because there's so many Squinterns. It would be great to have. It's like I feel a little bit torn, but I love the fact that Patricia Belcher has been in every season. She did that. She's the only actor who did that. I just remembered something.
What?
I was thinking about people who come back from season 1, and the Howard Epps character does come back. The serial killer. So that's one of the serial killers from Bones.
Right. So he
not to spoil things.
Spoil it for me.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of leads me to a little bit of stuff that I don't know, which is what is going to be different moving forward. What are we losing?
Yes.
What are we gaining?
Yeah, well, we're gaining Tamara.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Dr.
Yeah.
So big gain for the gang at the Jeffersonian, big gain for us as actors. And but we were losing Jonathan Adams and Dr. Goodman / Dr. Goodman. So that's sad.
Yeah.
It's a real sad thing that didn't work out.
That's the biggest, probably the biggest change, I'm guessing, between season 1 and season 2 is losing him and gaining her, right?
Yeah.
Like, would you say that's probably the biggest change?
That's the biggest change to me.
Okay.
Yeah. We lose Sid, Heavy D, and Wong Foos.
That leads me to a question.
Yeah.
From at Angie.2806. Why did you change the restaurant? Which we sort of answered in the heart, but I wanted you to speak to, you've brought up Sid and Heavy D and Wong Foos. So
basically they realized that if they bought the street that diner is on, they made the Royal Diner. If they bought that street, then they could use it for exterior filming.
Like they get
own it
first right of refusal.
Yes, exactly. So anyone who wanted to film there would have to come to them and work it out through them. So it was really a budget thing, because when we'd have to go out a certain amount, but it was easier to go out of the lab and be still on the lot.
But that's so funny because it was built. I mean, why? Just because they gained the diner and New York Street.
I think they added my apartment.
Oh,
you see in the last,
so you can't have those like all set up.
I don't.
You got to lose something space wise. Oh, that's interesting. Because to me, I'm like, it's built like.
Yeah, but then they have to take it down.
Take it down.
Yeah, because that's where my apartment moved to.
Okay. Because I loved Wong Foos, and Hart says in that interview we did with him, he was like, he loved it. He loved like the gang all getting together, and Heavy D like knowing everybody's order. It was really,
he was also expensive. Heavy D was expensive.
Right,
that was another
he
thing
mentioned
he said.
that.
So it was like budget.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Because he's not serving the purpose of solving the crime either.
True.
So you're seeing probably have to weigh like bang for buck kind of thing.
True. I didn't really think about
he's
that.
He's fantastic, but you have to kind of consider all that.
Right. What does it serve story wise?
Yeah.
Like
what do we gain when we go to that location and
it's just
use him?
Fun set, like in a sweet,
and fun concept for a place or a restaurant that just knows what you want, even when you don't know what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Right. So that's another change. Yeah, a couple of changes.
Yeah,
I'm excited to like start season 2 and like
Me
see.
too.
Also, just trajectory wise, like shows find their footing. We talked about that in season 1 of like doing a pilot, establishing yourself, figuring out your characters. How do they support each other? How do they oppose each other? Who's gonna hook up with who? And then I'm assuming season 2, you're gonna be a little bit more settled. And the things that work, I'm assuming that cream is rising to the top of like you being out in the, field, you traveling, you being with Booth.
right.
So
what kinds of episodes work?
Yeah.
What stories work? What like visual things work for the show? What dynamics of the characters, qualities of the character, and there's so many different things.
Yeah.
But they're really trying things out, from the pirate episode to the kidnapping episode to the season finale to the
in season 1
girl,
you're also singing for your supper a little bit, right?
100%.
I mean, you're trying to
know
we were
picked up until after the finale is written.
Yeah, I feel like, even just speaking from very recent experience of Platonic season 2, I felt a comfort and ease. I already had that because I'd worked with everyone so much, but season 2 to me felt cohesive in a really different way than season 1, because I think there was the confidence of having been picked up, and also that we'd already all done a season together, and it just felt there. For me, there was a noticeable difference. So I'm anxious to watch season 2.
Yeah, and that's how many episodes do you guys do of that? Like
only
10.
10. So like half.
So even then you felt like you had it. And so
I really did.
I would think that like doing 22 would hopefully make us feel more gelled. But
and you guys only had 3 months off. We had
well,
2 years off.
Really. Oh my God. That's so, I know it's so crazy.
Yeah, it's
and
tough.
then when's it going to air?
In August.
Let's I
know. Apple
Get
TV.
ready.
Platonic season 2. Shameless plug. Shameless. Shameless. You made me do it.
Why not? We have a podcast.
Yeah,
why not? Promote things.
Before we finish up, I would love to just talk a little bit about the experience of doing the podcast. If there's any, things, it's been much like the journey and the arc of season 1. We had really like a interesting trajectory in making the podcast. Oh my gosh.
Because we started talking about it 1 million years ago, and then finding the right partners to do this.
Producers, and really, platform.
It was a long road. And so we did that, figured it out. But yeah, it's been an interesting learning experience, and like what works, what doesn't. But we continue to learn.
Yeah,
bear with us as we continue.
I was thinking that. I was like, I appreciate people like. I mean, obviously some people are coming on hopefully along the way, but the people who have like stayed with it, because looking back again at the breakdown of the different episodes, we recorded the podcast for those first maybe 10, 9, something like that, a very long time ago. I mean, at this point, like really years ago, which is wild. Yes. And I think we tried to like not hide that a little bit, but we were like, we
not
edited,
necessarily broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, there were things that we edited out that were like talking about our children being like 5 years old. Yeah, instead of 7 and things like that, or the year references to the year. And we went in and we actually we did a lot of work with Lemonada to shape those early episodes that had less shape and to get them into good shape. And it was, but when I looked through these synopses of the early episodes, I was like, oh my God, we watched that so long ago. We talked about that so long ago. And it sort of like made me reflect on now. I guess I didn't even mean to tie this with a neat bow, but I feel like now when we do a rewatch on we're like, okay, we're watching the finale and we're going to talk about it. My nerves or like the pressure I feel, like what are we going to talk about and what points it's gelling over the season of the rewatch of Boneheads, that I feel so much more at ease. Like even doing this, I was like, we do prep, but I was like also like, we have so much we got this, and we have so much to talk about. So that's been really interesting for me in doing it. I'm so much more comfortable with it. I enjoy it so much. I love talking to you and getting to see you. So it's been cool.
I know, it's been fun. I mean, I do feel the same way where I used to be nervous because you're like, oh my gosh, we can't forget to talk about this. We can't forget to do this. Don't talk over each other, all this stuff. And it's like, we will talk over each other a bit. We're trying not to do as much, but that's just the nature of conversations. Sometimes
we get excited
with us.
We get excited. I talked over you to say we're getting excited.
And that's just like what you got. We want the podcast to be a rewatch podcast, and also just listening to friends talk and like come along with us as we're chatting and talking about all kinds of things, including the show bones.
So I'm glad we got to do this little, I feel like we're jumping off. I feel like starting into season 2, I'm excited now that I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch. But I am glad we took this day to just sort of like look back on
reflect
on podcasting, starting a podcast, watching all these
First
episodes.
Season of Bones.
Yeah. Thank you for doing the podcast with me.
Oh, thanks for doing the podcast with me.
I'm glad that 22 episodes in of watching the show that we are at a place where we're like, not like, that's not fun and it's too much work.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the takeaway for me is like, I really look forward to doing it with you. And I'm, it kind of, my heart is warmed even just thinking about this past not quite year, but that we've been doing this now.
Yeah. Same.
Officially. Like in it and having some flow. So
I know. I look forward to our days recording.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Well, thank you to you for doing this with me. Thank you to you listeners, watchers now.
Yeah.
For coming along the ride with us.
And we really do take your comments and suggestions seriously. So, keep those coming to us. Questions,
stay
things
engaged.
that you want to hear us talk about, or people you want us to interview. We'll do our best to
questions
get them on
have for them.
But we're enjoying doing it. So thanks for not having us talk into the void.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And next time you hear us or see us, we'll be talking about season 2.
Yeah.
Pretty big. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks so much for listening to Boneheads.
If you haven't yet, now is a great time to subscribe to Lemonada Premium. You'll get bonus content like extras from our conversation with writer and showrunner Stephen Nathan. Just hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, or for all other podcast apps, head to lemonadapremium.com to subscribe. That's lemonadapremium.com.
Boneheads is a production of Lemonada Media and us. It's produced by Keegan Zema and Tiffany Bowie.
Our engineers are Brian Castillo and Noah Smith. Our senior vice president of weekly content is Steve Nelson.
Our executive producers are Stephanie Whittleswax, Jessica Cordova Kramer, and us, Emily Deschanel and Carla Gallo. Music by Doug Paisley.
To stay up to date with us and submit your listener questions, follow us on Instagram at BoneheadsPod and at Lemonada Media on all social channels.
Follow Boneheads wherever you get your podcasts, or listen ad-free on Amazon Music with your Prime membership.
Thanks so much for listening. The dog just got up. Just got up. Is she in the? She's just in the frame right now.